What's going on, y'all? Master Yoshi here, and I am ashamed to say I have been wrong about counter steering, and I put some pretty misleading information out there. But let's talk about it. Drop the beat. Well, now who the hell dog out here doing this? But alright, y'all, I said I was wrong because I was partially wrong. In many of my videos, I would say, push right to go right, which is true. But that's only half of the story. Before we get way into it, please let me give y'all the background of what had happened. See, what had happened was, after I dropped my knee dragging video, I had somebody reach out to me and asked if they could give me some pointers or some advice. I said, yes, please. I'm welcome to all types of different feedback because I know I am no pro, I am no master, I am nothing, even though my name is Master Yoshi. And some of the critiques he gave me was, one, my body position was all out of whack. My head was too high. Well, my body position was fine, he said, but my head was too high. I was looking up instead of, having my head just pointing straight, and me looking up like that was causing me to twist more than necessary. And he also got to the point to where he said, I don't know how to counter steer. He said, you should be counter steering, and you're not. You have no idea about what proper counter steering is. He was wrong. I had somewhat of an idea. I understood that, you push right to go right, but that was only half of the story. Matter of fact, he was wrong about counter steering too, because in the picture here, I'll show you. My tire is turned inwards towards the turn. Now to him, he said it was turned in way too much. He said I was falling. The bike was falling, and I was lucky to keep it up. I disagreed. I said the bike is turning. It ain't falling, but whatever. But I was wrong because I thought that counter steering was something that took effect at certain speeds. So I thought because I was in between about 15 to 20 miles an hour, I thought that counter steering wasn't necessarily taking place. I thought direct steering was taking place, which wasn't the case. So counter steering only initiates the turn. That's all it does, is it initiates the lean to allow you to take the turn. But the way he made it sound like my tire should be pointing the opposite way during the entirety of the turn. So, after this, I took it to my man Motovlog, and shout out to him because he was extremely helpful in, helping me get this ironed out, because I have not taken any advanced courses or anything like that. So I went to somebody whose advice and opinion I trust. My man, Motovlog. I appreciate you, Greg, for taking the time out of your day to chop it up with me and learn me something. So the way Motovlog broke it down to me was, yes, counter steering initiates the turn, but after you're in the turn, your wheel will point into the turn, allowing you to do direct steering. Whenever you take a still of somebody in the turn, their tire is going to be pointing the way in which they're going, unless you take it right as they initially lean. He really broke it down to me. I was like, oh, okay, I see what you're saying, but what about the threshold in which counter steering takes place? He said there is no threshold. You can counter steer at any speed. You can be going 1 mile per hour in counter steer. Or you can direct steer. You don't have to counter steer to take a turn. You can direct steer at any speed. You could be going 100 miles per hour in direct steer. Now that threw me for a loop. Let me get through here real quick so I can show y'all. So when he was talking about direct steering, he was saying that really depends, or counter steering and direct steering, that depends on the rate at which you turn your handlebars. So if you're going and you barely turn your handlebars, I'll try to make sure y'all can see what I'm doing here. I'm going to barely turn my handlebars to the left. And I will go left because I'm going to do it slow enough for it not to lean the bike, and we're just going to direct steer. Check it out. Hopefully you can tell. So I'm going to slowly start going to the left. The road's bumpy, so you might not be able to tell as much. But there's no counter steering in that. Just as I'm direct steering right now. But again, hopefully it's not too bumpy. Let me go right here. I'm going to push right and go left. Slowly. And once you start going, you can push it a little bit more. But to initiate a turn, usually you counter steer to get the bike to lean. But once you're leaned over, that's when direct steering can take place. And this is why it is extremely important not to have a death grip on your handlebars. You have to be loose on your handlebars. You have to let the bike do what the bike needs to do. So that's how I only had it partially right about counter steering. Yes, I know that to push right, you go right, but I didn't really, ever emphasize in any of my videos, because I was wrong about it, that direct steering is going to take place afterwards. And now, so the dude who originally gave me my criticisms, or who originally critiqued me, I was explaining to him, after I chopped it up with my man Greg, that direct steering was taking place because I was already in the turn. And he was like, yes, that happens, but usually the wheel only straightens out, so people usually just, negate that as direct steering, like they just say it goes back to normal. But, after researching, what he is saying is only true if you're cornering at high speeds. So if you look at snapshots of people in a turn at high speeds, you can tell the wheel is pointing in towards the turn, but it's just slightly pointing in towards the turn. That's because they're going so fast. Now, if you're doing parking lot maneuvers, or if you're going or taking a turn at a slow speed, the more your wheel is going to be directly turned in. Of course, and also depending on how sharp you're taking that turn. So I was explaining this to him again, and he was like, no, you don't direct steering is bad on the sports bike. So, at that point, I'm like, ain't no point in going back and forth with old boy, because he ain't understanding what I'm saying. I'm not saying it was his ego trying to make him right, but he just wasn't understanding what I was saying. So I apologize for my ignorance in all the times I've said, yeah, man, push right, go right. That's not all it. You can counter steer at a small turn, at a small rate. Look at this, watch this, let me show you. Counter steering just initiates the lean. I could be going slow as hell. I'm going to push left aggressively, and it'll cause the bike to lean. And then right after the bike leans, it corrects itself and switches back over to direct steering. Watch again, watch my handlebars. Make sure you can see them. I'm going to push, and then you see the handlebars start going back to the left. But it's because the rate at which I've put that input in, that causes me to counter steer and get the bike to lean. Now if I do it slow, really slow, and start to just direct steer, I'm gonna go left. But you are not counter steering the whole time you're in a corner. But yeah, like my man Moto Jitsu says, man, get out and practice this for yourself. Get out and feel what that feels like for yourself. Get out and learn, familiarize yourself with your bike. And the same thing holds true for any two-wheeled vehicle. So your bicycles. Yes, it'll work just the same. Counter steering works just the same. Counter steering and direct steering. So again, I want to apologize for misleading anybody if I have. But I want to thank y'all for tuning in. Y'all stay blessed. Don't be too stressed. Master Yoshi out. Peace.